Well, I told you we were going to be renovating this garden bed this year, and work has started on that. So I'm going to show you what's happened so far, what plants have gone in, what plants are leaving, and we'll plant a couple of things as well. The star of the show here is this guy, which I planted 2 weeks ago now, maybe. It was hard to plant, big root ball on this thing, but it got in and it looks great, I think. So this is a Bruns Weeping Serbian Spruce. So that's Picea omerico pendula Bruns. This is, let me give you the stats on this. So this is going to get 3 feet wide, 15 feet tall. This is a 10-year rate. So, I mean, obviously we're starting at about 7 feet probably. This is quite a nice one. By the way, this came from Isley, who was nice enough to send this to me. And they were really nice to send me such a nice one. And these are kind of Dr. Seussian type of plants. They can kind of go a little wonky, which is sort of the charm of them. It is not a look that everyone will love. It is a look that I think this area needed. So you can see that it's staked up to here, and you can see there's a little bit of bend there. What I need to do is, well, there's 2 things I need to do on here. One, I want to extend this stake up because I want this to go straight up for a while before we start getting any kind of wonk on it. The other thing is that these ties that are holding the stake on are really, really tight. So I'm going to feel better if I can get those loosened. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I'll come up with some way to stake. This is hardy down to zone 4. And just a note, my gardening friend Linda actually sent me a note. Linda, if you're watching, I need to write you back. To let me know that she had rabbits eat the skirt of her Serbian spruce. So no sign of that yet, but listen, you know how it goes with rabbits. They just show up one day. So I probably will have to put some repellent on or something. But you can see there's already like a fair amount of weepage happening here, down here. And I like it so far. It's one of those things where, you know, I might prune some of that out. Eventually we'll see. I have had several things planted in this garden. Gosh, there was a Jane magnolia. Most recently there was a weeping purple willow. So Salix purpurea, probably pendula. I think this is the 4th thing that's been planted in this spot, and let's hope that 4th time's the charm on this. One of the things that was bothering me about this bed is that I have this ginkgo right here, which I adore, gnome ginkgo. And then over here I have the rosy teacups dogwood. And when that, and then back here, they're just sticks now, of course, but that's limelight hydrangea. And almost everything was ending up at basically the same height, and it looked really weird. So we've got the limelights, and then we had the willow, and everything was kind of the same shape and the same height. And so I thought it was not working for me. So we needed to totally change it up. This also works from a cohesion standpoint because I'm not going to say that I necessarily realized this at the time, but it definitely does. This is off of where I've created a little bit of circle of grass, and on each side there is now an evergreen. I've got an enormous ancient Norway spruce over here. I've got a white spruce straight across from here. I've got Picea engelmanni, an Engelmann spruce, Mr. Magoo over here, and now this. And so we've sort of created a circle of evergreens, which I think especially up here in the north is probably a good thing. And I actually planted this slightly farther to the left. Oh, the other thing that happened was there was a blue globe spruce planted over here, and I was pretty sure that was going to have to come out with this. It did not work together. It is one of a trio that I planted when these beds were first created in 2011. And they are sort of old-fashioned blue globe spruces. So they do develop a leader, which they have started doing, which means they're kind of losing their shape a little bit. The other two they're all fine for the moment, but they are probably on their way out because they're just kind of losing the plot a little bit. If you want a blue globe spruce that is not going to develop a leader, look to something like Moonstone, which apparently doesn't do that. So otherwise, when you buy a blue globe spruce, know that you're going to constantly be fighting it growing a leader as they get older. So that came out. all together. And when that came out, I realized that this bed felt a little sideways. So I planted this farther this way a little bit. That meant that I had to adjust what was planted in front of it. And in front of it here are June hostas. There were a trio of them. So I did have, at one point, a Japanese forest grass in the middle of those June hostas. It did not like it. It was too sunny here. You're going to ask why June hosta is doing okay here. You guys, I can't explain this. We're far enough north that our sun just doesn't have the potency. So even in a lot of sun, as long as they have a lot of water, hostas seem to do fine here. And June is maybe one of my favorites. So because I had to move them, I divided them at the same time. And what I ended up with was actually I didn't move this one because I didn't want to dig up all three of them. So I divided the other two, and I created kind of a semicircle here, and I've got something we're going to plant today in the front of that semicircle. As I was going through this garden, I remembered some of the things. Actually, literally, when I was working on this design that I shared with you in winter, I couldn't even remember exactly what we had all planted in here. So as things have been emerging, I've been saying, oh, yeah. So there are a few things that need to come out of here to accommodate what's going to happen next. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the plants for this yet, but I have some of them, so we're going to do some of that today. I think I just want to start with a clean slate here for most of this. Couple of things are going to stay, but for the most part, I think I want kind of to clean slate this. So I'm just going to start by the limelights here. So we have a lot of salvias in here, and I forgot that I had planted these in here. I think it's one of the pink salvias, and I don't know exactly which one it is. I think it's a Proven Winners one. Also, I've got some stackies, probably Humalo in here, I'm guessing. So there's like some underneath all these Virginia. By the way, these Virginia bluebells are beautiful, and they can stay here as long as they want to stay here. They never interrupt anything I'm planting, and they just, when they're done, I cut them back, and they are almost done. But the flowers on them are so pretty. But like even down in there, like I see there's another salvia in there. Now these alliums, these are all staying, and this is a pretty important part of the design, if you recall. This is a clematis that is a pink clematis, and I forget the name. I will never remember the name of this one, but I will put it on the screen. But this will just drapes over the wall. There is a hosta tucked back here, and he's going to have to move. I don't know which one he is, but he is going to have to come out of here because this whole area is going to become, this is where the baptisia is going to go. I do have a Guernsey cream clematis here who has nothing to climb on right now. I don't really want to move her because I love her so much. She might just stay here long term. Then coming over this way, I've got a few of sedums in here. I think this is coral jade. No, this is lemon jade. This is lemon jade. I'm assuming they're all the same. There's a third one kicking around. Oh, there's a third one back there somewhere. So I think I'm going to pull those out and actually plant those over here to create a little bit of a wall, because I always do something different right there in this bed. So I'm going to plant those right here as sort of like the stopping part of this garden. That sounds weird, but it should work. I also have a couple of phlomis in here. So these are both Phlomis Amazonia. I think I'm just going to keep the one and move this one into a garden on the north side of the house where I have some growing already. There's more salvia. This is Clematis Sapphire Indigo, fabulous, fabulous clematis that I also let go over the wall. And then there's a lily here, and the lily can stay. I think it's purple. And then there is some Sanguisorba in here. And I don't remember which one it is. I think it's pretty tall. I'm just going to I want to do something else in this spot, so I'm just going to tuck this one probably farther that way and get it out of the way. Right here in this little cage is Clematis Stand By Me. It's the blue Stand By Me. This is also a clematis here. This is Arabella right here. Gosh, is Arabella already thinking about blooming? No, it's not. This is Arabella, and I let Arabella just scramble through this bed. All of this is all foliage from winter aconite, which seeds around, and so soon that will be gone. And then obviously we've got some daffodils in here and things like that. Oh, and this is, obviously I've got a lady's mantle here. It'll probably stay here for a little bit. Listen, I love lady's mantle, as you know, since the entire bed in the front here is all lady's mantle. And I can move it down there, or I probably will need some up here to fill in some gaps, so maybe it'll stay. This is Let's Dance Diva hydrangea. And I know it looks totally pathetic, but darned if this sucker doesn't put out a gorgeous bloom every year. So I'm going to try to keep it unless it's totally in the way. There's a little bit of hosta that I moved, stuck in over here. I do try to keep this area like planted, because otherwise this is where the dog's fountain is, and he'll just walk right in the bed if I don't do something there. I think there are more clematis. There was at one point planted along here. I don't know if they still exist or not. Maybe when the Virginia bluebells clear out, I'll find them or not. So the first job is going to be getting rid of everything that's not going to stay here, because I can't think when it's cluttery like this. Even if I don't have all the plants for this area yet, I want to just look at it with fresh eyes. So I'm just going to start digging things out here. Phlomis is also called Jerusalem artichoke, and some people, I think you can, I don't know if it's on all of them, but at least on some of them you can eat the artichokes, and some people call them fartchokes because apparently they make you very gassy. But look, check out the roots. Isn't that cool? I've never seen that before. That is so, like, look at those little guys hanging there. So cute. I think that's super cool. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, so most everything has been moved out of here. I did kind of pre-dig this hole already for this next thing that's going in here, because hole digging is, not the most entertaining thing to watch. But I want to tell you about the next plant that's going in here, which I am super excited about, but I'm just going to say, by the way, I can kind of tell that where I'm working right here is, I'm coming into a lot of roots from the willow still here. All right, I am excited about this next trio of plants, and here it is. This is all gold juniper, Juniperus conferta all gold. If you watch Jim Putnam's channel, you will have seen this plant. Jay Sifford, if you follow him at all, he does a lot of work with Fine Gardening magazine too. He's a garden designer. He loves this. One thing you'll note about both of those people is that they are both in North Carolina. This plant is hardy to zone 6. Now, technically I'm a zone 6A, but this is a chance. It wants really good drainage, which I think I can provide it, and I will plant it. If anything, I'll err on planting it a little bit high because of that. I also think because this is a very protected spot, I think we have a better chance of getting away with it. We're nice and protected by the deck here. This is a little bit of a heat sink. I feel like if there's a spot to push it with a zone 6 plant, this could be it. Okay, let me give you the stats on this. By the way, also from Isley on these. Pretty slow grower, 3 to 6 inches a year. It gets 8 feet wide, but only 1 foot tall. So this is a ground cover evergreen. And that's what I want here. I want this spruce to sort of look like it's emerging from a pool of gold. That's rather romantic description, but it's the truth. Loves moist, well-drained soils. Now, I have come in here and added a bit of compost here. My soil tends to be on the sandier side. The soil in this bed actually isn't as sandy as it is in other beds, but I did add some Organics Mechanics compost in here. And, oh, these guys are, I'm just gonna work up these roots a little bit because you can see this thing is a bit root bound. It's also a bit dry, holy smokes. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do 2 things here. First, well, I am gonna work up these roots a little bit. I'm gonna get the hose, I'm gonna fill these holes. This water won't stay in here very long, but I think it's nice when you've got a nice wet hole for a plant that's feeling a little bit dry, so that it's easier to start with moisture and then add more after you've planted than it is to try to make it wet. And then the other thing I'm gonna use in here is the Organic Mechanic Root Zone feed packs. I feel like these have really helped me. They come in these little sachets. Sometimes I open up the sachets and pour it in there. But this has mycorrhizal fungi in it. Let's see if I can tell you what's all in these. Fertilizer, mycorrhizal fungi, biochar, amazite, and micronized oyster shell flour. And I know you're only supposed to use one, but I use two. Okay, I have 3 of them, one on each side and then one in the back. The front is, the gold comes from the June hostas. This next plant was not on the design that I showed you in winter, but I think this is actually the very perfect spot for it. And I'm quite excited about it sort of perched over this terraced wall here. This is a peony, and this is scrumdiddlyumptious, which is just, could there be a better name for a peony? This is again from Islay. They have peonies and ferns too, and other things. This is an Itoh or Itoh peony, which is the kind of peony that is a cross between an herbaceous peony and a tree peony. So it should keep its foliage all year. I think this is a nice sunny spot for it. I don't think it'll burn or anything here. I think it'll be good. We'll get 2 to 2.5 feet tall. I mean, honestly, it's damn near that already. The flowers on this are so darn pretty. Showy, creamy yellow blooms with a pink blush and pink edging. So that's gonna go right here, and I just think it's going to be stunning in this spot. And actually, this sapphire indigo clematis might even like climb through it a little, ramble through it, not really climb because it doesn't climb. Again, I've added a little bit of compost over here. One thing you don't want to do with any peony is plant it too deeply. All right, the last thing I'm going to plant today is right here in the center of this wall between the June hostas. And I'm going to put in another clematis. So there's 3 here then. This is Integrifolia. This is a tiny little one. Integrifolia, it's sort of blue flowers, blue kind of bell-shaped flowers. It only gets 2 feet tall or so. And it's not a climber at all. It's essentially, a bush variety. So it should, sort of come over this wall like the other ones do. It's a group 3 clematis, which means that you don't have to do anything except for cut it back to a bud in spring. Usually the rabbits do that for me. I almost never even have to prune them because the rabbits prune everything for me. So the key thing with clematis, and I say this, you've probably heard me say this before. So the thing with clematis is they always say they want their heads in the sun and their feet in the shade. They don't really need the shade. What they want really is consistent moisture. So I've added I do make a really nice rich hole for clematis. I will sometimes even put a little bit of manure in. In this case, I didn't. I just did compost and biochar. And then I have 2 of those root zone feeder packs, and those I'm actually going to open in this case. I don't know why. I don't know that it makes a difference, but that's what I'm doing and mixing that in. This is a small plant that I got from Donahue, and I potted it up in this, so a lot of the soil is going to fall off because it hasn't been here. See, it hasn't been here long. There. So, we're going to have to really fill this in quite a bit here. Now, my thought here is that I'm hoping to maybe just plant like a little ring of maybe like some Euphorbia Diamond Frost or something in here around this. But we'll see how big these hostas get. I always underestimate how big hostas are going to get once they sort of unfurl themselves. Doesn't look like much now, but we'll see what it does this year. I don't know that this one will necessarily flower this year. I'm guessing it probably won't. It's just a baby, and it's quite small. So it just needs some tender, loving root care for the moment. All right, I'm going to water this. I've had the hose running this whole time, by the way, on the spruce. Anytime I'm working in a garden where I'll need, like when I'm planting stuff and I need a hose for planting, I just turn it on and let it run on something that could use water. And this guy, obviously big root ball, this one will need very deep soaks throughout the summer. So we got to take good care of that. Give this guy some water, we already gave that guy water. So since this area is mostly planted now, I'm going to come in with some arborist chips and mulch this whole area. That will help a ton. The load of arborist chips I have right now is so good. It all came off of a spruce. And I can't believe how fast it's breaking down. It's that pile, every time I dig into it, is just steaming. In fact, it's almost too broken down to be using for paths, which is kind of why I had them save it for me. And then next after this, we're working on the rest of the perennial layer that's going to fill out this little redo of this bed. And I will put a link in the description to Isley's Garden Center Finder. Isley is a wholesale nursery, so you can't buy directly from them, but they work with a ton of garden centers throughout the country. So you can find one near you so you can pick up some of the things you've seen me planting today. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.